What's up, everybody? Smart Hooked Outdoors. Hey, coming to you today from Ryan's bedroom and bait making shop. Just going to show you a little bit about what Hooked Outdoors is about, what we do, what we make. My pride and joy is going to be the Truth 810. This soft plastic jerk bait. If you look down some of my older videos from last year, you can see where I kind of run through. We talk about how we fish it and how we rig it and all that. But today we're going to talk about how we make it. So this is a design that I made all my own. This is a hardwood piece of oak that I hand carved, whittled, ever how you want to say it, to make my master, to make my molds. And that's what I use to make the molds that I pull the baits with. So y'all stick with us for a minute, and we're going to show you how we do it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is pour up some plastic. Now, I'm going to keep a little bit of this proprietary and not tell you all my secrets, but you buy plastics, liquid plastic, comes in gallon jugs or quarts, pints, whatever you decide to buy it in, from lots of different places. I use some from MF Manufacturing and from Lurecraft is mainly what I use. And it's all kind of recipes online for colors, different colors. And it takes quite a little bit of investment to build up your supply of glitter and colors and powders and whatnot, but we'll just keep this one kind of basic for you. So I've got my own recipe. We're going to make the 810 that I showed you a while ago. Alright, so I'm just going to do a small one. I'm going to do a 4-ounce pour. So I got my Pyrex mixing cup here. I hope you can see it. I hope I'm not cutting this off. Turn it down a little bit, maybe. So I got my Pyrex mixing cup. I put 4 ounces of plastic in. Always shake your plastic up good before you pour. Make sure if it's been sitting for a little bit, it might get kind of separated or layered in there. So always shake it up real well before you pour it in your cup. Okay, next thing I want to do is add some color. So, same thing with color. Always shake it up real good. Make sure that color is mixed up real good. And the way most people do the color is by how many drops you put in. So I'm going to be counting them as they go in. Alright, so now I got my plastic in. So I'm going to give a little stir, mix the colorant in with the plastic. And as you can see, it just kind of looks like a grayish milky color. Okay, so I got a microwave right here. I've got a fan running over here on the other side to blow it on an open window to kind of pull the vacuum in here and pull these vapors and stuff away. But once I get it hot, I will put a mask on. So anyway, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in there for about 2 minutes for this first heating on it. So I'm going to let that thing run. Alright, so after 2 minutes you can see it's kind of gone from that milky color to now we're starting to get a little bit of the silvery color to it. So I'm just going to stir it real lightly. I don't want to stir it real hard and fast because I don't want to make a bunch of bubbles in it, because those bubbles will show back up in your plastic when you pour. So it's still, a lot of people use a thermometer. I guess I've poured enough that I can kind of tell when it's about ready to pour, and that one looks like it's okay. So now I'm going to put some glitter in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a scoop of chartreuse 0.015. I'm going to put a scoop of gold 0.035 and a scoop of blue 0.015. What is so cool about pouring plastic baits and using glitter and all this is you can completely change the color of a bait just by the glitter. Just the two like in this one, I've got silver in there to start with, and then I put green, blue, and I put orange, blue, and chartreuse glitter in, and the chartreuse and the blue glitter reflect off of each other and give it a green tint, so it's just really cool. So give this thing a little stir here, get this glitter mixed into it. Alright, she still looks like she's doing pretty good. You really want to heat it as little as possible after you've added your glitter, because the heat can actually cause the glitter to kind of distort, kind of just get funky, so it will not look right. Alright, so now before I start my pour, I'm going to put my gloves on. And these were standard issue back when I was a fireman a bunch of years ago. So I'm going to tilt this camera down just a little bit so y'all can hear and see what I'm doing here. So these are my molds, so I pour from the tail end first, okay? So I'm just going to take this, just feel that tail end just a little bit, and then just work my way down that worm to the other end till that thing fills up. Just like that. I'm going to come back, come to this tail, work my way down it. And if I spill a little bit out over the side, that's not a big deal, because I'll get that with my little trusty pair of scissors when I do my quality inspection, I guess you'd call it. You want to be as careful as you can, because the less you have to trim off, the quicker you can get them on in a bag and get a sticker on them and get them sent out in the mail. The other cool thing about doing this is, so I got a little sloppy with that one. Now I'm going to set this over here behind the fan, so it's blowing that smoke out that window. Help it cool it off. Grab me another mold. But anyway, what I was going to say, the cool thing about this is when I go out and fish with these, and which is primarily the reason I started making them. I didn't really start doing this to get into the business of selling worms. I did this because there was a worm that was sort of like this that I used to fish with, and the company stopped making it, and it was a bass catching machine. And so I decided I was going to figure out how to make them myself just so I could use them. So the cool thing about it is that after I've caught 3 or 4 fish on one of these worms, and the hook kind of gets to where it's tore the middle of it up or whatever, I keep a little plastic box in my boat, and I just drop all those that I've torn up, I've already caught fish on, just drop them in that little plastic Tupperware bowl, and bring them back. I cut them up into pieces about a 1/2 inch long, and melt them down again. I put some heat stabilizer in with them when I melt them the second time. Melt them dudes down again, go catch another fish on them tomorrow. So I've got a little bit of plastic left. It's starting to get a little bit thicker. If you notice when it's coming out, it's starting to get a little bit thicker. Not wanting to flow quite as good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour what I can get poured, and I'm going to add a little bit of heat stabilizer and heat it for about 20 seconds and try to fill this last set of cavities or set of molds up. See how thick that's getting? It's really just kind of wanting to not pour well. Alright, so I'll take my trusty little stirring stick here, which is also a Torx screwdriver bit. What I'm going to do, get to where you see it, is all this that's kind of cooled off on the sides, I'm going to kind of try to rake it back down in there. Alright, so I'll take this heat stabilizer. There's no rhyme or reason how much heat stabilizer, a few drops, squirt, whatever you want to call it, in there. We'll go back in the microwave for about 25 seconds. All right. Come back out with it. Give it a little stir. Kind of get mixed up a little bit. And sometimes when you add heat stabilizer, it may darken the color just a little bit. So, boy, see how much easier that's poured against. It's nice and runny, nice and liquidy. It's a little bit of smoke coming off of it. Might have got it just a little too hot. So it looks like I ran just a little short. Looks like that's all I'm gonna get 4 out of that last one. So, but here's the great thing about it. So, did you see there? I got 4 full worms and about a half a worm, and then there's a little bit left in the bottom of the cup. All right. So, what I'll be able to do is I'll just roll that half a worm back out and throw it back in the cup. I've got all these little containers over here for different colors that I make, and so I've got one here that's got 810 on it, which is that color, and all my scrap that I use from that, like my leftovers, I just put over in that. When I get a big enough pile, cut it up, put it in there, put some heat stabilizer, melt it, make some more worm. Okay. All right, so now we're back to the first ones that I poured a while ago. So what I'm gonna do is just start right here at the tail. I'm just gonna kind of push my finger on there. I'm gonna rub it just a little bit, get that tail to pop up out of there. Peel that worm up out of there, drop it on the paper towel over here. Go from the other end. It really doesn't matter which way you go from. Sometimes one's a little higher than the other, sometimes a little lower. So I'm just gonna roll them dudes up out of there just like so. Drop them over here on the paper towel. So I set this mold out of the way. And I'll get my second mold. These are cooled off enough. So pull that out of there. Alright, there's my second. So that's 12 we've got right there. Alright. Man, ain't that pretty. Okay, so now I've got just a little container here. This actually, I think it's like a cake icing container is what that is. You can use anything. Now I got my worm oil. So I'm just going to put a little shot of worm oil in there. And that's just worm oil is just a lubricant. That's like when you take a plastic worm out of a new package, you know, that you buy and it's kind of slimy or whatever. It's got worm oil on it. It just keeps them soft, keeps them kind of supple, and helps them not stick together in the bag. It helps them stay nice and limber, I guess you'd say. So now I'll get my little trusty pair of scissors. And the reason I lay these down on a napkin or paper towel is because my work surface is black. It's a black granite looking material. And holding this worm against that black, now I can't really tell much about it, but if I put it on that white, well, I can see there's a nice contrast. And I see I got a couple of little, I call them boogers. Got a couple of little boogers hanging off of it. So some of them you can just kind of pluck them off, and you know, and then I just kind of hold it. And also the wall behind me is white. Sometimes I'll hold them up like so and just kind of twist around and make sure I didn't miss any boogers or tags, whatever you want to call it. And I'll just drop them in here. All right, so I'm just going to go through, pull off these little tags. And the great thing about it, those little bitty pieces like that, even that little bitty piece that comes off of there, I'll put that back in my 810 excess, and enough of those will make a worm eventually. So I know I did pretty good on these. Oh, here's some I'm gonna have to use the scissors on maybe. Yeah, like see right there on that tail. See, I got a nice little chunky one right there. So what I do is take that tail, throw it up sideways like that. Nice little snip. Comes right off on that pair of scissors. See it right there. These are barber scissors, I guess. The tail's got a little tag sticking off of it. So we've got a little one right there. Kind of roll it around, looks good. I'm only gonna do 6. That's 3 I got in there right now. I'm not gonna bore y'all to death with me sitting here trimming these worms. And like this one, I don't know if you can see it, but it's just got a little bit of a humped up place on it right there where I over poured the mold just a little bit. So what I do is take that scissor and just snip it down. See how nice and cool that looks? So when you buy a worm from Mark Shatley at Hooked Outdoors, it has been hand inspected, hand trimmed, customized, if you will. Alright, so that's my 6 for now. So there's no, thank you, not right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, need one more. 6, yeah, there's 3 and 3. So this will be the last one. Sorry about that. I usually do about 30 at a time, so it's kind of weird to just do 6. I've got enough molds now that I can pour 4 sets of molds, and by the time I get that 4th one poured, the first one is already cooled off enough to handle, and so I can pop those out real quick on the first 2 or 3 and remelt and roll with it. Alright, so now there's my 6. Alright, so I'm going to push this out of the way. What I'm going to do, got my 6 worms in there, I'm just going to kind of toss them around, kind of like if I was doing some buffalo chicken wings or getting ready to fry some deer meat. Just make sure that they're all covered up real good. Which over here I got my nice little laminated worm bag. And then I've got my labels that my sweet mama printed off for me. Thanks, Mom. So I'm going to stick this label on here. I want to do this before I start trying to put the worms in, because once that worm oil gets on that bag, and you're going to get some on the outside. It just happens. But they won't stick for nothing. So when I had Mom make me these labels, I had her leave me a little empty spot up there at the top where I could write in my colors. And so now I'm going to find my ink pen, and this is going to be an 810. And this is going to my good buddy Jackie Bethay in Mayfield, Kentucky. What's up, Jack? So, got you some that I hand poured. Jack saw my pictures I put on Facebook of that 7-pounder, 6-pounder, and 4-pounder I caught yesterday, and he said that he wanted to support me and wanted to buy some of my worms, even though I didn't catch them on those worms, but still. But Jack's my boy. Alright, so now I've got my nice little label on there. Take my worm oil again. I'm just going to put me a little shot inside the bag, just right inside the top. And I take it and just kind of push it down. See where that oil's going down in that bag now? Just kind of push it down to the bottom. And this, alright, this part right here, y'all, this is probably where I'm kind of OCD. I could just dump them in there, shake them around, they'd be fine. I like each worm to be facing the opposite direction, kind of like shotgun shells in a box. They stack in there better, they stay nice and level, nice and even, and just the way I like to do it. Alright, so I'm going to take one, drop her down in there, push it to the bottom, so the head's that way, tail's that way, so this one's going to go in with the head that way. So, drop that dude in there, drop this next one that way. I just keep rotating them back and forth which way the head goes and which way the tail goes. Bottom one always tries to stick. Kind of like trying to get that last piece of ice out of a glass when you're sitting there beating it against your face to get that last piece of ice out, right? Why does that last piece always stick like that? Alright, so now I got in there. I'm going to try to push the air out. Seal that dude up. There it is. Hooked Outdoors, the truth. 810. Get ready to head it out to Jackie Bethay in Mayfield, Kentucky. Alright, so that's it. If you want to get into pouring your own plastic worms, it's not that hard. I learned it. I can do it. Anybody can do it. But one thing you want to do, y'all, be careful when you do this. Get you a fan. Have you something that pulls this old... I mean, it's melting plastic. It's giving off stuff that'll probably kill us all. But, you know, get you a fan, wear a mask, and I don't have my good mask here, but I normally wear the with the filters on the side of it, but I left it at work because I wear it at work sometimes too. So anyway, be careful. Wear gloves. Man, look, I got shorts on now. Don't recommend that. Wear long pants. You never know when you're going to drop a glass, spill, and this stuff, you know, it's 350, 400 degrees when it's in those Pyrex dishes, or those Pyrex glasses. So just, if you do decide that you want to get into pouring your own worm, be careful when you do it. Wear gloves, wear a respirator, wear long pants. Think about what you're doing, pay attention, and be careful. But most of all, have fun. Build something, make something that's your own, that you can go catch a fish in. It's as rewarding as it gets. So anyway, that's how we make the Truth soft plastic jerk bait. Appreciate you being here with me today. Y'all stay tuned for our next video. It's going to drop probably about the same time this one does. So appreciate y'all watching. Like and subscribe my channel. I ain't trying to get rich off being a YouTuber. I do this for fun and so I can help my buddies out, whatever. All right, y'all have a good one. Get hooked.